Right then, I've got my axle in the vise. We're going to begin by removing the two clips on the boot. I'll pull that bag. Should just slide off. There we go, that is one clip. There we go. You might be able to make that out on camera, I'm not entirely sure, but there's a little clip right there, which is holding it all in place. Come on, you bastard. There we go. There we go. I might have got it. That got it. So with that removed, we can now remove the boot. There we go. Look at all that grease. And that is that. That is one side dismantled. It didn't take long at all. There's perhaps a proper tool for removing these, but right then, the difficulty with this side is that we have to whack it off with a hammer. So what I'm about to do is frowned upon, and I definitely do not recommend it, but you are more than welcome to complain in the comments. And just like that, we've got it off. So the next step is to remove the inner race as well as all the ball bearings. Now, if you press down, as I'll now demonstrate, because we'll remove this one, the balls just pop out. I need some clean kitchen roll. Damn it. So if I just press down on the inner section, just enough so we can pop the ball bearings out. The more balls you remove, the easier it is to move. So with all the ball bearings removed, we can now remove this section. Now this is basically like playing Tomb Raider now, because it only comes out in a certain way, and you just have to turn the bastard, fiddle around with it for a bit, and eventually the tomb door will open. There we go. One section is out. Final piece of the puzzle. Might need a few turns that way. Turn this way. Then you flip it upside down 3 times. Come on, you bastard! Oh. No, I thought I had it there. There we go. I've opened the tomb door. Extremely messy, but we've dismantled this side of the axle. And here's one that I dismantled yesterday. As you can see, I've already grinded them back, ready for rust treating, and I've also gave the innards a good clean. The ball bearings appear to be in good condition, good enough to be reused anyway. If there was any major scoring on them, then I would be concerned, but thankfully that's not the case. So let's get to work on rust treating. I am of course using Hydrate 80 again. I was quite impressed with the finish that it gave underneath the car, so I figured or go ahead and use it on the axles as well. So that's the first coat of rust treatment on. We've got to wait 30 minutes now before applying a second coat at a 90-degree angle to the first. So while we wait for that, let me show you some that I done yesterday. So as I say, here's some that I done yesterday. As you can see, the rust treatment has now fully cured, turning a bluey black colour. I'm pretty pleased, as I've said, with the finish that this Hydrate 80 gives. So let's get to work on applying the red oxide primer while we wait for the first coat of rust treatment to dry on the next lot. We're all using the same red oxide primer that we use underneath the car. We barely even touched the surface, to be honest, so we might as well get it used. Right then, so I've finished putting on the red oxide primer now. I don't know if you can get the red oxide primer in spray, because I'm hoping that brushing it on doesn't affect my final finish when we spray it on. Yeah, this is it all here. Yeah, it's going to need a second coat, but we're going to have to come back to that probably at the weekend. Here's the rust treatment after 40 odd minutes. I got a little bit carried away with the primer, so yeah, a little bit behind, but now we can apply the second coat. I'll do that off camera. You guys aren't interested, you get the point. It's now the weekend. As you can see, the parts have fully cured. I managed to give them a second coat during the week, luckily, so let's get to work on applying our crimson red spray paint. Let's waste no time, because I'm quite excited to see how this turns out. Oh, no way. It looks incredible. My vice is getting a respray at the same time. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's starting to run a bit. I applied a little bit too much, but as far as the colour goes, I'm pretty pleased with that. God knows if it's in focus. Trying to manual focus through a small screen is so difficult, but my original intention for this was to spray it black, but I'm going to go ahead and just have it in the same colour, because why not? It looks incredible, I swear to God. Who else is going to have pink CV axles? Come on. I know that this isn't going to be to everybody's taste, but you know, I'm chuffed with it. God knows how long it takes to dry. 15 minutes drying time between coats. That is nice. And there we go. That is the first coat on. I am over the moon with the colour. I did not expect it to be that colour. I know people said it turns out more pink, but that's unbelievable. So yeah, that is that, guys. I will admit that you can see the brush strokes from the primer, so perhaps I should have sanded them down a little bit, or maybe just not applied the red oxide primer, but by the time it's on the car and everything else is sat next to it, and there's a little bit of dirt underneath, you're not going to tell anyway. The main objective was just to eliminate the rust, to be honest, and get them looking a little bit better, which I think we've succeeded on. Well then, guys, it's the next day. We're going to start putting them back together now. I'm still over the moon with the colour. One thing to note, we are reusing the old boots. It probably is highly recommended when you go to this extent to replace the boots. However, given that they're £20 a pop, that soon adds up. And a close inspection suggests that these boots are okay, to be honest. They are, some of them are more worn than others, but it is what it is. So this is the grease we're going to be using. I think it cost me about £10 off eBay. Here we go. I'm not going too crazy on the grease. One thing I've learned since doing it the first time around is apparently you just don't need an awful lot, and you don't need any in the boot either. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but I've put some grease in there, not an awful lot, but enough. That is on, but we need to get our clip in now. I'm getting grease all over my freshly paint. There we go. Let's wipe around the edge. God damn it. I've had a right nightmare with these clips. Both of them have snapped, so that does mean that we unfortunately can't secure the boot at this time, so I'm going to have to get some more ordered. So we're going to get to work on putting this side back together instead. Right then, I 100% regret ever starting this job. As you can see, there is grease all over my axle. You think to yourself, what was the point in even restoring it? Basically, at this point, I have managed to get all the ball bearings in, finally. It was an absolute ball ache. I can't even begin to describe how difficult that was. If you're thinking about doing this yourself, don't bother. Just buy some new axles and be done with. You'll save yourself a hell of a lot of stress and mess. So, this is our outer race. And as you can see, there's different sides. Now, this side I've come to the conclusion must be that way up. That is to stop this section falling out. So, we'll start with that. That is definitely the right way up. So this section, as you can see, that is one side. This is the other side. Now, at a guess, this must be the right way up. Because once that slots in, there's a circlip or a C-clip that clips in. Now, at a guess, it would clip round here. Now, it moves nicely like that until you put a ball in. As soon as you put a ball in, that is it. All hell breaks loose. Sit rep, I've managed to damage the outer race now, so yeah. I got a little bit carried away and I thought, you know what, this is going quite well, this one. I'll go ahead and I'll whack in some grease, and then trying to get this final ball in, I maybe got carried away with the hammer. Yeah, that is, we need a new one, guys, we need a new one. But this is the C-clip that must be in place to get this side on. So I've got the C-clip seated, so I'm going to just tap this section in. And there we go, she's on. And if you're a moron like me, then you've forgot to put the boot on. But luckily, we've got this side free. Right then, I'm not going to waste any time, we'll move on to the next one. It's not been fun, to say the least. Right then, so we've got two ends. We've got one with a C-clip around, and we've got the other end without one. Now, the end without the clip goes in first. I've managed to secure a side, at least. I feel much better about it now. I'll be the first to admit it, the colour looks terrible, doesn't it? Now that I've managed to get just 1.5 back together, I'm really not a fan of the colour. The durability is also up in the air. It started chipping in places, so if you have any tips and advice on how you should properly spray something for durability, then do comment below. I will admit that I didn't do any research into spraying or anything like that prior to starting. So that's on me, but yeah, let us all know in the comments below. I'm sure somebody else will appreciate the advice. I'm not going to be stripping them down again. I'll do that later down the line when the car's actually on the road. The important thing is that they're functional and they do the job. We do need a new axle for one end and a boot for another, so I'm going to have to get those ordered. But yeah, in the next video we're going to be doing some welding. I've already made a start, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's about that. You can only describe this video can only be described as a complete failure, to be honest, but we are trying. That's essentially what Sloth is about at this point. It's about just giving shit a go, I suppose, and working towards the goal of finally getting Mona back on the road, which it seems a long way away, but once the welding's done, which I consider the most complicated part, because being a complete moron, it's going to be difficult. Once that's done, we can really knuckle down on everything. Now we can start speeding things up a bit. So yeah. I don't know, guys, we're trying, that is the main thing, as I say. So yeah, as always, if you made it this far in this terrible video, then thank you very much. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe and all of that rubbish, and I'll see you in the next one for welding. I don't know when it will be out. It's gonna take me a while, guys. The metal's here, I've got the welder ready, everything's ready, but it could take me a while, so just be a bit patient on the next one. Bye bye.